Internal Revenue Code, Section 864, Part 1. Definitions and special rules. Produced. For purposes of this part, the term produced includes created, fabricated, manufactured, extracted, processed, cured, or aged. B. Trade or business within the United States. For purposes of this part, Part 2 and Chapter 3, the term trade or business within the United States includes the performance of personal services within the United States at any time within the taxable year, but does not include 1. Performance of personal services for foreign employer. The performance of personal services. A. For a non-resident alien individual, foreign partnership, or foreign corporation not engaged in trade or business within the United States. Or B. For an office or place of business maintained in a foreign country or in a possession of the United States by an individual who is a citizen or resident of the United States, or by a domestic partnership or a domestic corporation, by a non-resident alien individual temporarily present in the United States for a period or periods not exceeding a total of 90 days during the taxable year, and whose compensation for such services does not exceed in the aggregate $3,000. 2. Trading in securities or commodities. A. Stocks and securities. In general, trading in stocks or securities through a resident broker, commission agent, custodian, or other independent agent. Trading for taxpayer's own account. Trading in stocks or securities for the taxpayer's own account, whether by the taxpayer or his employees, or through a resident broker, commission agent, custodian, or other agent, and whether or not any such employee or agent has discretionary authority to make decisions in effecting the transactions. This clause shall not apply in the case of a dealer in stocks or securities. Commodities. In general, trading in commodities through a resident broker, commission agent, custodian, or other independent agent. Trading for taxpayer's own account. Trading in commodities for the taxpayer's own account, whether by the taxpayer or his employees, or through a resident broker, commission agent, custodian, or other agent, and whether or not any such employee or agent has discretionary authority to make decisions in effecting the transactions. This clause shall not apply in the case of a dealer in commodities. Limitation. Clauses I and 2 shall apply only if the commodities are of a kind customarily dealt in on an organized commodity exchange, and if the transaction is of a kind customarily consummated at such place. Limitation. Subparagraphs A and BI shall apply only if, at no time during the taxable year, the taxpayer has an office or other fixed place of business in the United States through which or by the direction of which the transactions in stocks or securities, or in commodities as the case may be, are effected. See effectively connected income, etc. One general rule, for purposes of this title. A. In the case of a non-resident alien individual, or a foreign corporation engaged in trade or business within the United States during the taxable year, the rules set forth in paragraphs 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8 shall apply in determining the income, gain, or loss which shall be treated as effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States. B. Except as provided in paragraph 617 or 8 or in section 871D or sections 882D and E. In the case of a non-resident alien individual or a foreign corporation not engaged in trade or business within the United States during the taxable year, no income, gain, or loss shall be treated as effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States. 2. Periodical, etc. Income from sources within United States factors. In determining whether income from sources within the United States of the types described in Section 871A, A1, Section 871H, Section 881A, or Section 881C, or whether gain or loss from sources within the United States from the sale or exchange of capital assets is effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States, the factors taken into account shall include whether A. The income, gain, or loss is derived from assets used in or held for use in the conduct of such trade or business, or B. The activities of such trade or business were a material factor in the realization of the income, gain, or loss. In determining whether an asset is used in or held for use in the conduct of such trade or business, or whether the activities of such trade or business were a material factor in realizing an item of income, gain, or loss, Due regard shall be given to whether or not such asset or such income, gain, or loss was accounted for through such trade or business. 3. Other income from sources within United States. All income, gain, or loss from sources within the United States, other than income, gain, or loss to which paragraph 2 applies, shall be treated as effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States. 4. Income from sources without United States. A. Except as provided in subparagraphs B and C, no income, gain, or loss from sources without the United States shall be treated as effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States. B. Income, gain, or loss from sources without the United States shall be treated as effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States by a non-resident alien individual or a foreign corporation, if such person has an office or other fixed place of business within the United States to which such income, gain, or loss is attributable, and such income, gain, or loss, I, consists of rents or royalties for the use of, or for the privilege of using intangible property, described in Section 862A4, derived in the active conduct of such trade or business. T, consists of dividends, interest, or amounts received for the provision of guarantees of indebtedness, and either is derived in the active conduct of a banking, financing, or similar business within the United States, or is received by a corporation the principal business of which is trading in stocks or securities for its own account, or, a trie, is derived from the sale or exchange outside the United States through such office or other fixed place of business of personal property described in Section 1220A(1), except that this clause shall not apply if the property is sold or exchanged for use, consumption, or disposition outside the United States, and an office or other fixed place of business of the taxpayer in a foreign country participated materially in such sale. Any income or gain which is equivalent to any item of income or gain described in Clause E, 2, or 3 shall be treated in the same manner as such item for purposes of this subparagraph. C. In the case of a foreign corporation taxable under Part 1 or Part 2 of Subchapter L, any income from sources without the United States which is attributable to its United States business shall be treated as effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States. D. No income from sources without the United States shall be treated as effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States if it either I. Consists of dividends, interest, or royalties paid by a foreign corporation in which the taxpayer owns within the meaning of Section 958A, or is considered as owning by applying the ownership rules of Section 958B, more than 50% of the total combined voting power of all classes of stock entitled to vote. Or, E is subpart F income within the meaning of Section 952A. 5. Rules for application of paragraph 4B. For purposes of subparagraph B of paragraph 4A, in determining whether a non-resident alien individual or a foreign corporation has an office or other fixed place of business, an office or other fixed place of business of an agent shall be disregarded unless such agent, I, has the authority to negotiate and conclude contracts in the name of the non-resident alien individual or foreign corporation and regularly exercises that authority, or has a stock of merchandise from which he regularly fills orders on behalf of such individual or foreign corporation. And 2. Is not a general commission agent, broker, or other agent of independent status acting in the ordinary course of his business. B. Income, gain, or loss shall not be considered as attributable to an office or other fixed place of business within the United States, unless such office or fixed place of business is a material factor in the production of such income, gain, or loss, and such office or fixed place of business regularly carries on activities of the type from which such income, gain, or loss is derived. And C. The income, gain, or loss which shall be attributable to an office or other fixed place of business within the United States shall be the income, gain, or loss property allocable thereto. But, in the case of a sale or exchange described in Clause 3 of such subparagraph, the income which shall be treated as attributable to an office or other fixed place of business within the United States shall not exceed the income which would be derived from sources within the United States if the sale or exchange were made in the United States. 6. Treatment of certain deferred payments, etc. For purposes of this title, in the case of any income or gain of a non-resident alien individual or a foreign corporation, which A is taken into account for any taxable year, but B is attributable to a sale or exchange of property or the performance of services or any other transaction in any other taxable year. The determination of whether such income or gain is taxable under Section 871B or 882, as the case may be, shall be made as if such income or gain were taken into account in such other taxable year, and without regard to the requirement that the taxpayer be engaged in a trade or business within the United States during the taxable year referred to in subparagraph A. 7. Treatment of certain property transactions. For purposes of this title, if A. any property ceases to be used or held for use in connection with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States, and B. such property is disposed of within 10 years after such cessation, the determination of whether any income or gain attributable to such disposition is taxable under Section 871B or 882, as the case may be, shall be made as if such sale or exchange occurred immediately before such cessation, and without regard to the requirement that the taxpayer be engaged in a trade or business within the United States during the taxable year for which such income or gain is taken into account. 8. Gain or loss of foreign persons from sale or exchange of certain partnership interests. In general, notwithstanding any other provision of this subtitle, if a non-resident alien individual or foreign corporation owns, directly or indirectly, an interest in a partnership which is engaged in any trade or business within the United States, gain or loss on the sale or exchange of all or any portion of such interest shall be treated as effectively connected with the conduct of such trade or business, to the extent such gain or loss does not exceed the amount determined under subparagraph B. B. Amount treated as effectively connected. The amount determined under this subparagraph with respect to any partnership interest sold or exchanged. I, in the case of any gain on the sale or exchange of the partnership interest, is I. the portion of the partner's distributive share of the amount of gain which would have been effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States if the partnership had sold all of its assets at their fair market value as of the date of the sale or exchange of such interest. Or 2. If no gain on such deemed sale would have been so effectively connected, and E. in the case of any loss on the sale or exchange of the partnership interest, is I. the portion of the partner's distributive share of the amount of loss on the deemed sale described in Clause I, which would have been so effectively connected, or 0. if no loss on such deemed sale would have been so effectively connected. For purposes of this subparagraph, a partner's distributive share of gain or loss on the deemed sale shall be determined in the same manner as such partner's distributive share of the non-separately stated taxable income or loss of such partnership. C. Coordination with United States real property interests. If a partnership described in subparagraph A holds any United States real property interest as defined in Section 897(c) at the time of the sale or exchange of the partnership interest, then the gain or loss treated as effectively connected income under subparagraph A shall be reduced by the amount so treated with respect to such United States real property interest under Section 897. Sale or exchange. For purposes of this paragraph, the term sale or exchange means any sale, exchange, or other disposition. Secretarial authority. The Secretary shall prescribe such regulations or other guidance as the Secretary determines appropriate for the application of this paragraph, including with respect to exchanges described in Section 332, 351, 354, 355, 356, or 361.